Hello my dear students. So today we will be dealing with the limitations of Mendeleev's periodic table. Okay, we have seen in the last session what are the achievements of Mendeleev's periodic table. Okay, there are three main achievements in the Mendeleev's periodic table, and today we will see the limitations. What are the limitations of Mendeleev periodic table? So the first limitation of Mendeleev's periodic table was he could not give a correct position for hydrogen in his periodic table. What is it? He could not have a correct position for hydrogen in his periodic table. Why? Because see, hydrogen, we know we'll start from hydrogen having 1. So hydrogen has an ability, or hydrogen can be placed both in first group, that is hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, or it can be in the 17th group, or we can say now for Mendeleev it is 7th group, like fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, etc. Okay, so there is no correct position. There is no exact position for hydrogen in his Mendeleev periodic table. That is, hydrogen, you can put hydrogen in the first group. That is, in case of alkali metals, you have studied alkali metals, isn't it? Alkali metals, hydrogen can be placed in the alkali metals. Also, hydrogen can be placed in halogens. Halogens means what? Fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. So, hydrogen can be placed in both these groups. So, where is the exact position of hydrogen? So, that is a big question for Mendeleev's periodic table. Now, why you can say hydrogen can be put in this first group or among the alkali metals? Why? Because, see, like this alkali metals, for example, lithium will form its chlorides, lithium chloride, okay, or its oxide, lithium oxide, okay, Li2O, okay, lithium oxide, or it can form lithium sulfide, that is Li2S. See, these chlorides, oxides and sulfides, in the same way the hydrogen can also form oxides, chlorides and sulfides. So I will tell you a little more in detail. See, the question is why hydrogen can be put under the first group, that is alkali metals, or why hydrogen can be put under this alkali metals. Why? Because see, like alkali metals, for example sodium, lithium, sodium, potassium, etc. We will take sodium. So, the sodium, like alkali metal, forms compounds with the halogen, oxygen or sulfur. See, halogen, oxygen or sulfur. So, in the same way, the hydrogen can be also form compounds with these three compounds, these three things. For example, sodium forms compounds with halogen like sodium chloride. In the same way, hydrogen can also form HCl. See, same way, NaCl like HCl. For example, oxide Na2O, here it is H2O. See, in the same way as alkali metals react with these three things, these three elements, hydrogen has also got the same thing, or it also forms the same compounds with these three elements, halogens, then oxygens or sulfur. Okay, now sulfur, what about sulfur? Na2S is the formula for sulfur. So what about hydrogen? Hydrogen also, see, H2S. So the same formula what alkali metals have, or the same compound which is formed with this halogen, oxygen and sulfur, is same with that of hydrogen. So for example, NaCl, HCl, Na2O, H2O, Na2S, H2S. See, this alkali metal and this is hydrogen. See the formula, same formula. So that is the reason why hydrogen can be put under hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium. See, it is put under this alkali metals because like alkali metals, it will make same compound or the formula or the same compound, same type of compounds with oxygen, halogen and sulfur. Halogen means it can be either fluorine, chlorine or bromine or iodine. These four. Fluorine, chlorine, bromine or iodine. So that is why hydrogen can be put among the alkali metals or the first group. Okay, now why hydrogen can be also placed under halogens? See, we said two things. First, hydrogen can be placed among the alkali metals. Second is hydrogen can be placed under halogen family. Halogen means fluorine, chlorine, bromine. There also you can put hydrogen. So that is why he said there is no fixed position for hydrogen. So why you can place hydrogen in the halogen family? Why? Because see, halogens are what? Halogens are fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodine. These are called halogens. Fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. Now, these halogens or these elements occur as diatomic molecule. What do you mean diatomic? 2. So, fluorine exists as F2, chlorine as Cl2, Br as Br2 and I as I2. So, halogens exist as diatomic molecule or that means two atoms combine together to form one molecule. In the same way, hydrogen also form diatomic molecule like H2, isn't it? You can't find hydrogen as H anywhere. Always H2 will be a stable one. Isn't it? Hydrogen molecule is a stable compound or a molecule rather than a hydrogen atom. So that is the reason why hydrogen is put under halogens. So the limitation of Mendeleev is Mendeleev could not have an exact position for or a fixed position for hydrogen in his periodic table. So that was his first limitation. Okay, then next one more point in this halogen. These halogens react with both metals as well as non-metals to form covalent compounds. What is it? These halogens like fluorine, chlorine, bromine, etc. react with metals. For example, sodium chloride. Isn't it? Non-metals. Non-metals means Cl and PCl5, phosphorus chloride. So, these halogens react with both metals and non-metals to form covalent compounds. In the same way, hydrogen can also react with metals as well as non-metals to form covalent compounds. For example, non-metal means chlorine, hydrogen chloride. Metal means lithium, sodium or magnesium, lithium hydride, LiH. So, these two similarities makes hydrogen to be put in which group? Halogen group. So, the question is there is no fixed position for hydrogen. That was the first limitation. So, what was the first limitation? There is no fixed position, isn't it? That is a valid point. What is it? The first limitation is there is no fixed position. No fixed position for hydrogen, isn't it? That is, hydrogen can be put in alkali metal groups or it can be put in halogen group, isn't it? So, these two are the first limitation. Correct? Now, second limitation is, he cannot put or isotopes. You know isotopes. What are isotopes? Isotopes means same atomic number but difference in mass number, isn't it? So, his second is the isotopes of elements posed a challenge to Mendeleev. What do you mean by that? Isotopes of elements. Isotopes of elements means what? Isotopes of elements possessed a challenge to Mendeleev. This was his second limitation. Now, what do you mean by that? You know, the Mendeleev arranged the elements in the increasing order of atomic mass, isn't it? Atomic mass, which means, for example, if you take isotopes of hydrogen, listen, isotope of hydrogen is 1H1, 1H2 and 1H3. That is proton, tritium and prosium, deuterium and tritium. Which means these are atomic mass, isn't it? This is atomic mass 1, atomic mass 2, atomic mass 3. Now what happens is, Mendeleev arranged the elements in the increasing order of their atomic mass. And for him, hydrogen is only one element, isn't it? One element. That is atomic mass of 1. But when isotopes were discovered, isotopes means having same atomic number but different mass number. So according to mass, hydrogen, there must be 3 places for hydrogen, isn't it? That means for hydrogen having atomic mass 1, the second column hydrogen having atomic mass 2, then there will be a third column in which atomic mass has 3. So for one element itself, there must be 3 columns, isn't it, in the periodic table. So that was not. So that was his second limitation. But isotopes were discovered very later after this Mendeleev periodic table. But still, when isotopes came, that was a challenge for this Mendeleev's periodic table, because he could not accommodate the isotopes of hydrogen or whatever, chlorine or nitrogen in that periodic table, because only one element he is okay with that. And he, according to the increase in the atomic mass, he arranged the elements according to that. So when isotopes came, there was no place for the isotopes, because it is the elements were arranged in the increasing order of their atomic number. So different places should be given. For example, for hydrogen, there should be 3 places, isn't it? For 1, 2 and 3. 3 slots should be there, but it shouldn't be like that. So that was his second limitation. Correct. That was his second limitation. That is, when isotopes came, it posed a challenge to the Mendeleev. So isotope means same atomic number but different mass number. So that was his second limitation. Correct. So what was his second limitation? Isotopes of the elements posed a challenge to Mendeleev. So he could not give space for different isotopes. Okay. So some element have 2 isotopes, some element have 3 isotopes, some element have 4 isotopes. So where he will give the slots for all these isotopes? So that couldn't be explained by Mendeleev. And the last limitation of Mendeleev is, he could not say how many elements will be there between the 2 elements. For example, he arranged the elements in the increasing order of their atomic mass, isn't it? So now we take 2 elements having atomic mass 35 and 37.1. Say, if you have 2 elements like X and Y, okay, X and Y, its atomic mass is say 35 and 37.1 or something like that. So there is no gradation in the increasing of atomic number. Gradation means what? There is no specific number. For example, 35, after 35 it is 37, then 37 plus 2 39, then plus 2 41. It is not like that. There is no gradation in the increasing atomic number. See, if atomic masses were like 35, then 37, next is 39, next is 41, we can say between 35 and 41 there will be 2 elements. See, if the atomic number, if there is a gradation in atomic mass, for example, there are X, Y, Z, A. Now this has got 35, then this is 37, this is 39, this is 41. So plus 2 change in atomic number. That is called as gradation in atomic number, increasing of atomic number. So if there was a gradation in atomic number, we can say between X and Y, how many elements will be there? 2, because after 35 and 41 in between it should be plus 2 plus 2. So it will be 2 elements will be there. But since there is no gradation in atomic mass, that means atomic mass will be like what? First one is 35, the next element is 35.2, the next element will be 40, the next element will be 42.7. So see, there is no particular gradation in the atomic mass. You cannot say how many elements will be there between two. Isn't it? If you say one here and one here, you can't predict how many will be between these two elements. So that was a big limitation for the Mendeleev. So you got it. What are the three limitations? What are three limitations? First is he could not give a fixed position for hydrogen. That means the hydrogen can be placed either in first group, that is alkali metals, or hydrogen can be placed in halogen family. So he could not give a fixed position. Second is, when isotopes were discovered, what do you mean by isotopes? Isotopes means elements having same atomic number but different mass number. Now what is the importance of mass number here? Here Mendeleev arranged the periodic table in the increasing order of atomic mass, isn't it? Now what is this Mendeleev periodic law? The property of the elements are periodic functions of their atomic mass, isn't it? So that is Mendeleev's periodic law. So when atomic number he arranged in the increasing order, what happened? When isotopes were discovered, isotope means different mass number. So for same hydrogen, there will be three different isotopes or three different hydrogens having three different masses. So where will you put all these three hydrogen in his table? There is no space. So that was his second limitation. Correct. Now what was his third limitation? That means there is no gradation in the increasing of atomic mass. So he cannot predict how many elements will be there between the two elements. Got it? How many elements? He cannot predict how many elements will be there in the between any two elements. So that was his third limitation. So these are the limitations of Mendeleev's periodic table. So hope you are clear with Mendeleev's periodic table. Okay. Now again there comes another periodic table which was also a contribution. The major contribution was from the Mendeleev itself, but there was another scientist called as Henry Moseley. What is it? Henry Moseley. He states that, so again making order out of chaos. Chaos means what? No regular arrangement is there, isn't it? So again making order out of chaos, a new periodic table was put up. A new periodic table. We know the old one, that is Mendeleev periodic table, named it as Mendeleev periodic table, but again a new form of periodic table was put up, and the major contribution was from Mendeleev and also a scientist called as Henry Moseley. What is it? Henry Moseley. Now Henry Moseley, what Henry said? Henry said that when he plotted a graph against root of nu versus atomic number. See, now the full predictions are going to reverse. See, when Henry Moseley in his research or in his studies in the spectrum of elements, when he plotted a graph with the nu is frequency, you know frequency, root of frequency against atomic number, he get a straight line graph. See? So that studies further suggested that was the turning point. That was the turning point of our new periodic table, which we call it as again Mendeleev, but still it is called as long form periodic table. What is it? Long form periodic table, on which the major contribution was of Mendeleev, then Henry Moseley and Lothar Meyer, etc. So many scientist contributions were there. Now the major turning point was what? Henry Moseley stated that atomic number till now, all the laws, isn't it? The Dobonier triad, the Newland law of octaves, then Mendeleev, all this was on the assumption that the fundamental property of the element was what? Atomic mass. But who changed that thing? That was Henry Moseley. So Henry Moseley said, not atomic mass, but atomic number was the fundamental property of an element. And that made the modern long form modern periodic table. Long form modern periodic table. Okay. So now what happens? Everything was put up with that atomic number. Everything. So a new law came. The old one was Mendeleev periodic law. What was it? The periodic properties of an element are periodic functions of their atomic mass. But the new law, which is called as the modern periodic law, the other was Mendeleev periodic law. The new one is modern periodic law. That is why you call it as long form modern periodic table. So the modern periodic table, law states that the same law, only difference is the atomic mass is changed to atomic number. So that was a major turning point in the classification of periodic table. That is not the atomic mass, you are talking about atomic number was the fundamental property of an element. So when atomic number you have made and put the elements in the increasing number of the atomic number, every limitations of Mendeleev changed into advantage. That is the thing. That means isotopes. Isotopes means what? Same atomic number, isn't it? Different mass number. So if you take an element hydrogen, it is having only one atomic number, that is 1. So how many isotopes are there? You can put all the isotopes in that hydrogen, isn't it? So that was the biggest advantage of that, which was the turning point in creating a table. That is, atomic number is taken as the fundamental property. You know what is atomic number? We have studied. What is atomic number? The number of protons or the number of electrons, or either the number of protons or the number of electrons. See? So as we go from one element to other, the atomic number is increasing by 1 unit, isn't it? If you say hydrogen 1, helium 2, lithium 3, beryllium 4, boron 5, carbon 6, nitrogen 7, isn't it? So there is a gradation in what? Gradation in atomic number. So now you ask me, or now we can say, how many elements will be there between lithium and carbon? You can say beryllium, boron, 2 elements. Why? Because lithium is 3, carbon is 6. So how many elements? 4, 5. So that is why it comes as atomic number is the fundamental property of an element and not the atomic mass. Okay, but even though we are saying like that, still now there is a debate on which the position of hydrogen atom. So that we will discuss later. So when the atomic number becomes the fundamental property of an element, all the limitations of the Mendeleev comes as an achievement. So that was a great thing. Okay, and thus the new modern periodic law comes, which states that the properties of the elements are periodic functions of their atomic number, not atomic mass. So here onwards, we are dealing with atomic number and not atomic mass. So that is the turning point. So now you understood how the modern periodic table comes into picture. Clear? So what is the fundamental property of an element? Is it atomic mass or atomic number? It is atomic number. Isn't it? Atomic number. So when you consider atomic number, we can say there is a gradation in atomic number, isn't it? 1 after 2, after 1 it will be 2, 3, 4. Why? Because after each element, 1 proton is added or 1 electron is added, isn't it? So, there is a gradation in atomic number. So, by that itself we can say, we can predict how many elements will be there between the two given elements. Okay, so that is about the modern periodic table, and I will show you how it goes. So this is where the modern periodic table of the elements, which is say as the long form periodic table. Just have a look at the long form periodic table. See, this is what is called as the long. Hope you can see this, right? So this is called as the modern periodic table of the elements, long form, which was put forward by Mendeleev, isn't it? Now by taking what? Atomic number as the fundamental property and not atomic mass. So now I will give you a clear picture of what is this modern periodic table. Okay. As you know, it is similar, somewhat similar to what? Our Mendeleev periodic table. That older Mendeleev periodic table, but there were some more elements which are classified based on the chemical properties very neatly and regularity. Okay, which means that periodicity is also there. Now see, in this modern periodic table, the table is divided into two as groups and periods. What is it? It is called as group and periods. See, what is groups? Groups means what? Horizontal columns are called as groups. Horizontal, which means see, this is one group, this is two group, this is third group, this is fourth group, this is fifth group, this is sixth group, this is seventh group. So all these vertical column. All these vertical columns you can say it as groups. See, groups. That is vertical. All the vertical columns are called as groups and the horizontal columns are called as periods. See, periods. See the periods. Periods means first period. First period means two elements, one and helium. Hydrogen and helium, two elements. Then second period, horizontal. See, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon. See, this is the second period. Now coming to third period, see, sodium, magnesium, aluminium, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine, argon. See, this is the third period. Now coming to fourth period, potassium, calcium. Only since calcium you have studied 20. Now this is transition elements. You will study in next year. So scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper, zinc. Then gallium, germanium, arsenic, selenium, bromine, krypton. So like this, the horizontal rows are called as periods and the vertical rows are called as the groups. Clear? Okay. So this is first group, this is second group, this is third group, or you can say 13th group, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. See? So how many groups are there total? Starting from first to 18. See, 18. So from first to 18. So how many groups are total? 18 groups are there in a modern periodic table of the elements. Clear? Okay. Now, how many periods are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So how many periods are there? 7 periods are there. So in a modern periodic table, how many groups are there? 18 groups are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 groups are there. And how many periods are there? 7 periods are there. Okay, so you may be wondering what is this. You will study in higher classes. This is the balance of this. See, sixth group balance is this. So altogether there is only 7 periods are there. Okay, so what I want to say is, that is there are 18 groups and 7 periods in a periodic table. Now I will just show you one more thing. This we studied about hydrogen. See, hydrogen they took it as one rose, pink color, right? Pink color. Pink color means actually nowadays if you look at the periodic table, they put hydrogen here in one, not here and not here, because we said that the limitation of Mendeleev was also there. It can be put in this group as well as it is put in this group, halogen, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. Okay, so nowadays the periodic table will come as hydrogen as like here. Here is the hydrogen. So here in this, it is like this. So these two are metals. What you studied in 9th standard, etc. These two are metals. Then this you are not studying, and here you study non-metals, isn't it? This is metals and this is non-metal. And what are metalloids? The metals which are in the in the light green color are called as metalloids or semi-metals. Now what are metalloids? They show the property of both metals as well as non-metals. So the elements which are in pale green color are called as metalloids. For example, boron, silicon, germanium, arsenic, antimony, tellurium and polonium. See? So these are metalloids. Okay. Now one more thing. As we studied the achievement of Mendeleev, one point was when noble gases were discovered without disturbing the Mendeleev periodic table, he put the noble gas elements on the one end, isn't it? So that is this. See, helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon and radon. These are all noble gases. So Mendeleev put all the noble gases on one side without disturbing all the entire table. That was his achievement. Okay. So this is metal, this is non-metals, these are metalloids. Then these are also metals, but you call it as transition metals. Study later. So this is just a picture of what? Modern periodic table. Just to give an idea of how it is there in your textbook. You can go through it. We have to study the first, second, third, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 group you have to study. You have to know what all are elements in first group. Hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, beryllium, cesium. Second group, beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium. Third group, boron, aluminium, gallium, indium, thallium. Fourth group, carbon, silicon, germanium, tin, lead. Fifth group, nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, bismuth. 16th group, oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium and polonium. 17th group, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, astatine. And the noble gas, helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon and radon. So, for 10th standard, you have to study all these 8 groups. We will study one by one, no problem. Okay, we will study one day, one group or 2 groups one day by making mnemonics. We will study later. So this is a picture of the modern periodic table. So now it is clear what is a modern periodic table or how the modern periodic table comes into the picture. Okay, now who has that turning point? That is Henry Moseley, which says that atomic number was a fundamental quantity and not atomic mass. Then everything comes into that slot. So that was the major turning point in the formation of a modern periodic table. Okay. So next is we will see the position of these elements in the periodic table. Okay, what are the positions of the elements in the periodic table? If you say in the first group, first period, it is hydrogen. In the first period, in the 18th group, that is helium. So what is its physical property or chemical property, or how we will say all these why all these elements are in the group 1? What is its peculiarity? So all that we will discuss in the next session. So the positions of the elements in the periodic table. So till then, thank you.